Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Aitan. I am the Public Relations Director here at CyberPatient, and you're joining us for our fourth and final webinar of our 4-webinar series. The name of the webinar is CyberPatient Research, Types of Research Activities, Completed Projects, Research in Progress, and Research Opportunities. Now, just to get some housekeeping out of the way, all of the links for all 4 of the webinars will be up on our website shortly, as well as a link sent to you via email, so you'll have a recording. If you'd like to ask questions, please feel free. There are 2 ways. The preferred way is to type in your question in the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen. And then also you can raise your hand and we can call upon you if you'd like to speak verbally. Also, what I'm going to be doing is a short biography on Dr. Karim to let everybody know who he is. Now, Dr. Karim is a professor of surgery at the University of British Columbia and founder of the UBC Center of Excellence for Simulation, Education, and Innovation. He is also a past chair of the Technology-Enabled Learning for Vancouver Coastal Health and the regional director of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons of Canada. He is the founder and CEO of Can Health International, a registered nonprofit, as well as the founder and CEO of Interactive Health International, which has created CyberPatient. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wait a couple minutes just for everybody to get into the webinar, and then we're going to begin. So right now it's 8:03 a.m. here in Vancouver, and we'll wait another 2 minutes. The itinerary of today's webinar will be a 20-minute presentation by Dr. Karim, followed by a discussion session with all of your questions. Thanks.
Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, please accept my gratitude and thanks for being here for this 4th lecture series on CyberPatient. I hope you're all well and with your families and whatever part of the world are you. I believe in this lecture series we talked about CyberPatient as a new invention, and then I talked about this CyberPatient design in interface, and in the last lecture we talked about the integration of CyberPatient into a medical school curriculum. Today, the topic of my presentation is CyberPatient research. And I believe by the end of this presentation, you will be familiar with type of research opportunities that CyberPatient can provide for you. We are going to talk about research projects completed for CyberPatient 1.0, research projects completed for CyberPatient 2.0, whatever research projects we have in progress at this time, and we can talk maybe about how we can work together to create research opportunities for each other. To begin with, CyberPatient as a new invention will provide for you research opportunities in all type of research activities that you can imagine of. Mainly, educational psychology research is related to descriptive research, associational research, or interventional research. In relation to descriptive research, you can do projects with CyberPatient in relation to surveys, historical research, content analysis, and quantitative research. In the past, what we have done already is done a lot of survey research, which would be very important, and every university can do this, and also content analysis research that we're going to talk about later on. In relation to associational research, you can do correlation research. You can do causal comparative research, which is mostly experiment post facto. And then you can do, in relation to interventional research, you can do the true experimental research or quasi-experiments or action research. In the past, we have done correlation research. We did one project on casual comparative analysis or ex post facto, but most of our research were directed toward true experimental research, and we haven't done any quasi experiments or action research yet. If you look at the research in relation to the Kirkpatrick's model, Kirkpatrick's model of evaluation in training identifies 4 levels. And the level 1 is reaction, level 2 is learning outcomes, level 3 is behavioral changes, and level 4 he calls the results. So with respect to the reaction or level 1 research, you can, with CyberPatient, you can do survey, historical, and qualitative research. With respect to the level 2 learning outcome research, you can do a pre and post test with CyberPatient. You can do content analysis, action, research, and also you can do a casual comparative research, which is also called post facto experiments. You can, with respect to the behavioral change level, which is a much higher level of evaluation and assessment, you can do a true experimental research. That's has been the main focus of our area, the Kirkpatrick's level 3. And in the Kirkpatrick's level 4, which is result, it's mostly impact research that we haven't done yet, but we are planning to do with our partners. The impact research should be directed toward the impact of CyberPatient on quality of healthcare improvement, on the patient safety, or in cost savings for the hospital or for the system. And those are very complicated research, but we can do it together at some point. So in relation to research projects completed by CyberPatient 1.0, perhaps if you remember, I talked in my first research, the CyberPatient was created in year 2000, but we were way ahead of our idea was way ahead of the technology. And as you remember, at that time, the bandwidth was not strong enough, and there were no or little internet languages like HTML5 was not discovered at that time. JavaScript or Angular or any other languages were not available to make interactivity inside the cyberspace. So we created, as you remember, CyberPatient in a CD-ROM, and that gave us a lot of opportunity to do research with CyberPatient. And we completed many projects at 2 universities in Japan, Kochi and Jichi universities, and also at the University of British Columbia. The results of those research has been published. One of our main paper was published in the British Journal of Medical Education in 2004, and you can find this easily on the internet by searching it. Also, the Japanese have used similar type of data to publish in the Studies in Health Technology and Informatics journal. We also did some post facto experiments with our UBC students, and that was also published. I will tell you a little bit about this, our main experiments in Japan. These are the professors who participated in the experiment in Kochi, in Jichi University. And what we did is we took all the third-year medical students and divided them into 3 groups. Group A was reading books. Group B was using CyberPatient to learn physical examination. And group 3 was using book and CyberPatient, and group 4 was sham, did not use anything. But all groups were subjected to a multiple choice exams, as you see in here, and also an OSCE exam before, and multiple choice and OSCE exam after the intervention. And students were randomly assigned, and there was a placebo control, proper true experiments. Here you see the students who are in the treatment group and use CyberPatient in their computer lab. And then this was the textbook group who has actually read the physical examination of the abdomen from a book. And then the group who had the CyberPatient only had enough time at the end of the session, because we were capturing their behavior, to practice this on each other. It was very interesting to see how excited they were. Group that had CyberPatient in the book, they didn't have time for that. But the group that had only CyberPatient, they practiced on each other. So results of this experiment actually showed that there was an increased, significantly better improvement in knowledge gain by multiple choice questions for the group that used CyberPatient, and the group that used CyberPatient with a textbook in relation to the textbooks and in the sham. Also, the results of OSCEs showed that people who use students who use CyberPatient, they were significantly better than the students who use textbook. And actually, the students who use textbook and CyberPatient, their results were very lower, maybe because that 4 hours of the time we gave to them was not good enough for both of them. So, but the difference was not significant. So I was not actually, it was a very good result, but I was not satisfied to this. So, and I start doing some correlation analysis. So I asked the dean of them, both medical schools, to give me the end of the year performance rates of all these students. And then when I plotted it, that against the performance with CyberPatient, we find out that 10% of the students who are extremely good in their end exams, they're very talented students. It doesn't matter if they use CyberPatient or textbook, still they were doing very good. But the other 90% who are mediocre in the medical school or weak students, they significantly improve with the use of CyberPatient. And that may relate to the fact that CyberPatient is more interactive, and it uses many other memories in addition to reading memory, the tactile memory, the audio memory, the visual memory, and so on and so forth. And actually that was the reason the British Journal of Medical Education accepted this paper for publication. So the CyberPatient 2.0, as you know, was completed in October, November last year, and it's very new. So we were able to do the first experiment with UBC, of course, where I'm the professor of, and then the second project was completed in Kazan State Medical University in Russia. So I'm gonna so in the UBC research with CyberPatient 2.0, we hypothesized that CyberPatient 2.0 improves history-taking abilities of novice learners who have not been exposed to the clinical learning environment. In the objectives of the experiment was threefold. One was to determine if digitally enhanced online simulation platform CyberPatient 2.0 improves history-taking skills of novice medical students. And the second objective was to determine if CyberPatient 2.0 is as effective as a standardized patient in improving history-taking skills of novice learners. And then the third objective was to determine if CyberPatient 2.0 is more cost-effective than a standardized patient. So the results of our experiments showed that the soft skills such as hello, how are you with patients, and learning how to behave on relationship communication with patients in both groups of students, with groups of students with ISP and the group of students with CyberPatient improved significantly in comparison to pre. But in the domain of knowledge, where the students asked specific questions related to the patient's pathology, with the CyberPatient group improved significantly better than the SP group, which was very surprising to us because our objective was to see if CyberPatient is equivalent to SP. But in our surprise, we found that it's actually more significantly better than using SPs. And when we asked students afterward, why do you think, why is that? And they said that for novice students, it's very difficult to communicate with a real person. They were very shy and they didn't know if they're asking the right question. But with computer, they were not shy. They would ask questions 10 times, and the feedback that they get from the computer immediately helped them a lot to improve. Results of this paper is also published as we speak in the Journal of Creative Medicine, and it will come this month. Not this month, actually June. She should have been out now, but I don't know if it may be delayed for a few days, but it's in press and it's coming in 1 or 2 weeks out, and we will inform you and send you these results. We also, if you remember, our third objective was to look at the cost efficiency. So the cost effectiveness, we analyzed with cost-effective analysis ratio, which is an indicator of cost effectiveness. It's calculated of cost divided by the outcome from our experiments. And we found that this ratio was for CyberPatient, it was 2014, and for SPs, it was 12,600. So the ratio is 6 to 1. It means that SPs are 6 times more expensive for each case to do than CyberPatient. And if you, since we have 120 cases in CyberPatient, then if you calculate for 120 cases, then SPs are about 94 times more expensive than CyberPatient. We also calculated the cost-value relationship. In the cost-value relationship, we find out that CyberPatient would be very low cost and very high value, where the standardized patients would be very high cost in mediocre value. So the second research that was done in Kazan State Medical University with the same hypothesis, we had two objectives. One was to determine if online simulation platform CyberPatient 2.0 improves history-taking skills of novice medical students. But the second objective was to determine if CyberPatient 2.0 is as effective as textbook in improving history-taking skills of novice learners. So in this experiment, we try to compare CyberPatient with the textbook. And the results of this publication also showed that the soft skill, with the soft skill, there is no significant difference. But with the knowledge domain, there is a huge and significant improvement with CyberPatient, whereas with textbook, the improvement is not very much, and it is very modest and not significant between pre and post. And then the results of post, comparing to post between CyberPatient and in textbook, the results are highly significant. So in addition to this through experiments where we have the independent variables, and the independent variables are controlled by the researcher, and we randomly assigned students, and it's double-blind randomized study. In addition to that, we also used CyberPatient in Kazan State Medical University for the whole semester for a cohort of 60 students. And and we did then, I didn't do that, they did the survey on these 60 students, and the results were very interesting, and we just got these results about 2 weeks ago, and we are in the process of analyzing it. There's lots and lots of data. I can't, in this short period of time, give you all the ins and outs of this survey, but I can clearly see that the students believe that CyberPatient supports competency-based learning. About 91.5% of students believe that it would improve competency-based learning, and about 91.5% believes that it supports the experiential learning, and about 93.2% believes that CyberPatient would give them the opportunity to go through the whole continuum of care from start to the end with patient. This actually supports our main claim, or our the fact that money, or majority of professors, universities, administrations, and physicians, they had this concept that practical medical education cannot be learned and cannot be taught by online simulation. So asynchronous methods of delivery for practical medical education was a no-no everywhere. And this survey now, because of the COVID-19, because this project was because of COVID-19 expedited, this showed that yes, it could. It may not replace a patient, it may not replace a standardized patient or ask you or anything, but it's a good tool to deliver practical medical knowledge to the students, and students like it. So in relation to our research in progress, I can tell you that we have many research projects around the world. We have a research project in Japan with Kochi University. Research is completed, data is collected, and the Japanese are in the process of data analysis. To tell you brief, because of the interest of time, they are looking into see if CyberPatient will be a good alternative to OSCEs. It's a very complex experiment, and I'm not involved in it, and so we'll see how the results would be. In addition to that, we have also a research project that is completed and data is collected, but data analysis is not done yet at Kabul University of Medical Sciences, and also at Khatib University in Kabul, Afghanistan. So these two universities has completed the study and collected the results, and they are in different stages of data analysis. We are also planned to do another research in Haramaya University in Ethiopia, and also International University of Africa in Sudan. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we were not able to go there and start the research project, and they got very much involved with other aspects of COVID-19. So the research was postponed, we are in the process of restarting that research opportunities, and for them to start and complete their research projects. The same research opportunity we have in Bulgaria and also in Athens, Greece. These are the two other places where we have signed a contract for the research project, but because of COVID-19, we haven't started it yet. So in summary, I can clearly say that CyberPatient is proven to be significantly more effective than textbook learning for history taking and physical examination. That CyberPatient is proven to be significantly more effective than a standardized patient for history taking. That CyberPatient is at least 6 to 94 times more effective than standardized patient, depending on how much standardized patient you're going to be using. And CyberPatient also opens new research possibilities for academic circles in all universities around the world. And that would include a descriptive research, associational research, interventional research, efficacy research, cost effectiveness research, reliability, validity, and other type of research. I can also conclude that the survey analysis has shown that students like and prefer to work with CyberPatient at this time, but the survey will be published perhaps very soon, within 2 to 3 weeks. And at the end, I can also say that more research works needs to be done on all aspects of CyberPatient, particularly research on impact of CyberPatient on patient safety, quality of care, and cost savings for the healthcare system as a whole. So at this time, because it's the 4th lecture and the end of the lecture series, I would like to cordially thank every one of you for being here and supporting me and the CyberPatient. I have to admit that CyberPatient is a new revolutionary idea, and it's in its infancy. Just got born, it's a 4-month-old baby. So we do not claim that it's perfect yet or ever will be perfect, because everything is evolving as technology evolves. But we can, but our aim is not to just make money with CyberPatient. Our aim is actually to build a online society, an online group of of pedagogues, educators, students who are interested on a better way to teach, and to have an online family of people who cares about education. So please be with us. Please contact us. You see our website there. If you're not registered, please go and register. And you can contact me directly at Kayumi at cyberpatient.ca, or you can contact Aitan at Aitan at cyberpatient.ca. So at this point, I'd like to stop and we'll be happy to entertain your questions. Thank you very much.
Hi, now we're going to be starting the Q&A or discussion portion of the webinar. The first question that we have is by Evangelos. He is asking, what about checking the retention level from CyberPatient as compared to conventional reading?
That's an outstanding Evangelist question, research question. We will fully support that. We haven't done that yet, but knowledge retention is so important. Yes, because the knowledge retention with in the learning pyramid, as I showed before, the knowledge retention for lectures is about 5%, and for reading a book is 10%, and adding audiovisuals is 50%, and learning by doing is 75%, teaching others is 80%, but nobody knows how much in 3 months would be if you use CyberPatient, because it's interactive, it uses audiovisual and other tactile memory and other memories, and it improves. So that would be an outstanding thing to do. Yeah, I hope, Evangelist, we can work together on this project.
Okay, and the next question we have is by Mohammed. It's a two-part question. I say one is a comment and then second is a question. Thank you very much for these interesting webinars. It would be great if you arrange for a demo training on CyberPatient platform and its cases to encourage people to use it. And I'm wondering, in the KSMU study, why the knowledge domain has been improved significantly compared to the soft skills domain. I would expect the opposite.
Yes, with respect to the comment, I really appreciate that. We are working on that. We're making an interactive. We have a demo for not a demo, but a tutorial movie, which was easy to make, but an interactive tutorial, we're working on it. Perhaps in 2, most to 3 weeks, it will be out. And everybody can go through a case interactively to learn CyberPatient. And with relation to your question, what we did is we had a checklist of history taking. And in that checklist, we identified that there are soft skills such as hello, how are you doing? So things that saying goodbye properly to patient and informing patients. So those soft skills are very easy to learn. It's like if you're a polite person, you have it from home. But so there's not much to add, but the knowledge-based domain are the one that you specifically learn from the software or from the book, which would include from chief complaints into analysis of morbi, of the pathology, and then when and how, and then the all other domains of the history taking. So when it comes to specific on the domains of history taking, this is something that you learn You don't learn it from home. You learn here a didactic reasoning and asking specific questions on history of the patient's social history, of the patient's medical history, or the review of organs and systems. So all those domains include in the knowledge, and that's why we separated the soft skill from the knowledge to not mix the data. So in fact, it is not the reverse. Those are not soft skills or communication. These are simple, basic communications with the patient that anybody would know, but it was included in the checklist. So we separated that from the knowledge base, where we have the knowledge of how to ask questions from a patient to come to a diagnostic conclusion. Okay.
Okay, and next question we have here is by Suzanne. She's asking, can you talk a little about the opportunities for allied health and interprofessional research, specifically nurse practitioner, midwife, and nursing?
Yeah, I think there is a huge opportunity for that. I think we should talk about this, Suzanne, because in the beginning we thought that CyberPatient is designed only for medical students, and we did design it for medical students. But during this COVID-19, and particularly after feedback from these 4 webinars that I did, there's a huge number of nursing schools and allied health professional schools have talked to me, and they said that the history taking part, physical examination part, is for nurse practitioners. So it's not just for medical students, even some decision-making issues. So yes, I think I had also another meeting with a very young, talented guy from Emirates, and he wants to use some of the CyberPatient or modify CyberPatient for pharmacy students. So yes, the opportunity is there for us to do that, and I would love to continue this conversation with you, Suzanne, to make this happen for nursing and allied health professionals.
Perfect. Other than that, we have no other questions. Would you now like to conclude for today? And let everybody know, I'd like to thank you all for being a part of this webinar. As well, as mentioned in the beginning of this webinar, all recordings will be sent to you via email and will be posted on our website. Our website is www.cyberpatient.ca. I'll type it in the chat box along with my email address to contact me with any questions or inquiries that you were not able to get to during this webinar. Do you have anything else to say, Dr. Kareem, before we conclude?
No, I thank again everyone for being here, for supporting, and looking forward to working together as a community of educators and learners to support our medical education. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye now.
There's some other messages there.
Let's see. Oh, actually, thank you very much. We just got two questions at the last minute. One is by Nosha Farin, and she's asking, what is the process of starting to use this app? That is, what should we do in the first step so that we can use this app properly? Okay,
that's thank you very much for the question. It's very easy. You go to CyberPatient, www.cyberpatient.ca, into the COVID-19 page, and you can register for free. There is no money involved. You register for free immediately, and you will have an immediate access to all 120 cases. And then, but I would strongly recommend, before you start using it or recommending it for your students, you should go through the tutorial first to understand how to serve on the internet in CyberPatient domain. So please use the tutorial. If you have any questions, please ask us. You have direct line with me or Aitan or Sam, who's on this also on this panel. So these are my right hands. And we have also on our app, we have a feedback points that you can directly put your concerns, your feedback. We love to have your feedback. We love to have your criticism. We are, I say, we are a community of educators and learners trying to improve CyberPatient and bring it to perfection. And we need your help. We need your criticism. So, so please go ahead and be in contact with us by any means, by means of through direct relationship with the technology through app or by calling us. Thank you. Next.
Oh, great. Next question we have is by Almanzar. What is the standard that was used in the previous universities that were worked on to determine the objectives of the research?
What are the standards?
Yeah. What is the standard that was used in the previous universities that were worked on to determine the objectives of the research?
Those would be determined by the university, by you. We are not there to dictate like what standards you should look for, because our interference would be mostly to support you doing your research, but to define your learning objectives, to define your research objectives would be entirely up to you. But if you like our consultation and my input as a professor, I'll be more than happy to work with you to define the research questions or research objectives for you.
The last question we have is by Hitinder, and he's asking, is the application available in other languages, or can we convert the same to another language?
Unfortunately, at this point, we don't have the software or the platform in any other languages. We are planning to have that, but it would need time and some investment money to do that. Having said that, we did translate a few cases for Japanese study into Japanese language, and we now know how to do that, and we know it's not that difficult to do it, but it's time consuming, and we have some other urgent things to complete with CyberPatient. So I think in the near future, we will have the languages, main languages such as Spanish, French, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, maybe Indian. But the belief out there is that most countries, medical schools are in English. Even if you're French speaking or Spanish speaking, they're still, or Persian speaking or Arabic speaking. Most medical school curricula is in English and delivered in English. So therefore, English was our first, but we are open to suggestions and cooperation actually from our other partners. For example, in Russia, we are trying to translate this into Russian language with our Russian partners at Kazan State Medical University. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. And another question we have is, do we have any other competitors in this space? And can you talk a little bit about our other competitors?
Yeah, there are other competitors. Most of the competitors are a bit different than we are. So if simplify the issue and divide it, the competitors, we can divide it in two categories. Category one is that they have technology to look at one case or one system or one process, like it's for surgery or it's for OBGYN or it's for this or for that. And they don't look at the continuum of care. They look only at point of care, but on specific points. So there are some others that are that the idea is the same as our idea, but the difference between CyberPatient and those competitors are that they're all text-based. They're all text-based. They're not animation-based. It's not like a real-life simulation. It's like a text in multiple choice questions and answers, and you choose, and then you click, and then you see a picture, and then you click, and you see another picture, and then they ask you another questions, you make a choice. So it's like a textbook, interactive textbook, rather than fully simulated. To tell you the truth, a fully simulated platform like ours, I haven't seen yet, and if you have, please let me know.
Okay, great. Well, that's all our questions for today. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining us on our webinar series. We are definitely going to be having further webinars in the near future. And to hear about that, we will be posting about this on our website as well as sending you all emails. Thank you once again, and have a great day.
Thank you. Thanks again. Bye-bye.